We continue Reddit reaction right here at busyworksbeats.com. This post is from Less Sir 364. They say, I've been producing for a year and I still feel I'm at the beginner level of music production. It feels like I've just been stuck for the past 5 months. I've considered quitting it all together, although I really enjoy it sometimes and want to create something really awesome, but a majority of the time I just struggle to start. I guess the title is sort of misleading because I'm good at mixing stuff and understanding where to put sounds and basic arrangement, but my songs usually come out bland and sound boring. I've been bouncing around different genres, so maybe that's the problem, but if anyone could lend me some advice, it would be much appreciated. Okay, so let me react to this stance. Okay, I won't even call it a question, it's more of a stance. Is you've been producing for a year and still feel at the beginner level. I'll tell you, I was 14 when I first started, and I wasn't serious up until I graduated college. Okay, so how many years is that? 14 till 22, that's 8 years. It's like I knew how to make beats, but I wasn't serious about it. There's a difference when you dedicate your existence to learning how to make beats. It's a whole different process than just learning how to make beats. Like right now, I learned how to code, Python coding. For example, that taught me so much, relearning something I've never learned before from scratch. I literally knew nothing about coding. All I did was I spent 1 hour to 2 hours every day for 30 days straight, and I could write 200 lines of code after that period. We have to focus, and the majority of people don't focus. We think we have to take everything in one day, and then we get frustrated because we're jumping too high, okay, in our training skill. So all I did was I took it one piece at a time, and I learned through this platform that organized the information for me. So I wasn't just scouring YouTube with this tutorial, that tutorial. I had a course that guided me step by step. And that's what we do at busyworksbeats.com, for example, premium.busyworksbeats.com. We take people step by step. The difference between, our courses and YouTube is that on YouTube, people highlight certain things. They edit stuff out. You don't see every step because you can't. You have to be an entertaining video on YouTube, so people skip stuff. And the majority of videos on YouTube are advanced or intermediate level stuff. So if you're a beginner and there's no beginner material and there's no step-by-step, and there's like literally as a beginner, you have to have somebody who guides you, says, click here, click there, because you don't even know where to click right now. Okay, you don't even know the areas of the DAW. So I think the problem here, it sounds like you just didn't have the information, the step-by-step information. Okay, because if you've been producing for a year, one, your expectations are extreme because I'm assuming you have not practiced. Okay, because you say that it feels like you've been stuck for 5 months. So again, when I'm learning Python, I'm going, here's this concept, that concept. Okay, and now I have all the building blocks. What's the next rung of the pyramid? Can I build something? How do I apply this knowledge? How do I apply a loop structure with conditions? And how do I apply lists and dictionaries? How do I apply, what else is in Python? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. How do I apply, Lambda functions and classes? How do I apply that? Strings. I know about it. I know the syntax. I know all that stuff. But how do I make something out of this? So a lot of us get stuck too, learning crap and not doing anything with it. That's why the other video about the audio engineering degree, I said it's great to know a lot of stuff, but if you're not making something and applying the knowledge, it does not matter. There's no point in having the knowledge. I've gone to school for 4 years, pre-med undergrad, a bio major, but a pre-med undergrad. And I can tell you, I've learned so much in a short amount of time, but because I didn't apply it, my brain just got rid of it. Because it's hogging up space, there's no point to know it. Okay, and I didn't practice with those muscles and keep those muscles going. So all I'm saying to this poster, to this Less Sir 364, is if you feel stuck, it's because you are assuming that you know something that you don't actually know. You need to go back to the fundamental ground components and get every single pillar before you move up. And what happens is people get a little thing here and a little thing here, and they think they could build a house on top of that foundation. And the answer is no. Everybody wants to skip the boring foundational stuff and wonder why their house is falling apart. Okay, it's because we're skipping those fundamental pieces. So that's why I teach mixing fundamentals at premium.busyworksbeats.com. I teach you the fundamental components of mixing. I teach you the fundamental components of music theory. I even have a new course coming out, Music Theory Magic, where I'm going to go so deep into music theory that you're going to go to the root of the root. Literally, that's a double entendre, the root of the root, meaning why do we use certain keys? Why do we use certain scales? Why do we use this chord? Why do we build melodies this way? There's a magical reason why. There's an emotional reason why. And I actually guide you through that in this new course coming out called Music Theory Magic. So that's an example of you need to go to find the root components of your education and figure out what's missing. I bet you if I had a conversation with this person, I can figure out what they're missing in 3 seconds. Okay, so let's pull his post up real quick. So if you feel like you've been stuck, it's 1, you're not trying new stuff. 2, you're not building with intent. 3, I would say you're just missing information or missing education in this case. Okay, because a lot of tutorials on YouTube are just, it's not their fault, the tutorials. It's you'll have an intention to do something and somebody will suggest something to you, and then you'll deviate from your intention to try something else and experiment, go in a different way. So if you're running an experiment and you pivot off of your hypothesis, you're in a different experiment at that point. Okay. So I just want people to understand it doesn't matter the time. I literally learned a lot of Python in 30 days. But the reason I could do it in 30 days is because I took one chunk every day. I did not overly consume my education because it would overwhelm me and I would stop. So I consumed one thing every single day for 1 to 2 hours, and I practiced one thing every single day for 30 days straight. I now learned how to code from not knowing anything even about coding to 200 and something lines of coding. So you just have to eat small pieces, okay, for a long time in a row. And that's, as humans, it's hard for us to delay gratification because our survival DNA kicks in. And then we say, look, I've been walking for 20 miles. I may not have the chance to eat all this honey and all this fat over here. So let me consume all the sugar and fat right now because I don't know when the next time I will. That's our ancestral brain, I'll say. And that overtakes and overrides us sometimes. And so we overly consume. We overly consume education, food, whatever goes in, we overly consume it. And we don't think that we overly consume education, but we do because we're not processing and applying the education. We're filling our brain with all this stuff that eats up our CPU power, our mental CPU power, and all these tasks. Okay. And then we never finish the tasks, never go to the next step in the education. So we have all this stuff just eating up space. It's kind of like when you have 1,000 free plugins on your computer, but they all eat up CPU. You open one plugin and it just, your CPU goes like to 90 on FL Studio. So it's like, even though it's free, you just destroyed your CPU because you didn't want to take this one step at a time. You wanted everything. You wanted to consume so many plugins. So all I'm saying to this person here is when you're learning, you have to learn the basics first. It's boring, but you have to learn the basics. The second thing is you have to be consistent about only eating small bites every single day of knowledge, or else you're going to overwhelm yourself and your computer is going to fry. Okay, because you're going to get demotivated because you got frustrated when you ran into a frustration point. And if you've been stuck for 5 months, it's because you're not introducing novelty. And the reason you don't see novelty, like through perception, is because you think you know everything. So you're like, this isn't new. Music theory, another video from BusyWorks Beats, whatever, melody, I already know all his stuff. No, you don't. Because if I quizzed you about what is the major sixth, how many semitones is that from the root note? How do you build, the sadness emotion? Okay, how do you go from happy to sadness? How do you transition from a C major chord, C major 7, to a D minor 7 without sounding jarring? How do you change keys from C major to A minor? What's a deceptive cadence? If you can't answer those questions, you don't know music theory to that degree. Not saying you need all that music theory all the time. I'm just saying we think we know something that we don't actually know. Okay, so that's why you're stuck, is you are thinking you know something that you don't know. I want to thank everybody. This is my Reddit reaction series. Comment below. Subscribe for new. Peace.